So today, the prophet Isaiah starts us out and keeps the theme rolling here. He does it very forcefully in just one sentence here. Rise up in splendor, Jerusalem. Rise up. It's really a command, not a suggestion, but rise up. And even by saying rise up implies that somehow Jerusalem is not risen up. Somehow Jerusalem is down. Maybe things are not going well. Things are looking bad. People are depressed. Whatever it is. So when the command rise up, it implies that something is about to happen. But even more so, it implies not just stand up. You know, you'd be sitting down. So you can say, well, stand up, Jerusalem. And stand up just doesn't quite get it. It's not a good word in this case. Stand up, Jerusalem. But when you say rise up, it implies something. Now, as a resurrectionist, Congregational Resurrection, I look. We look on that word very fondly for us. So not only resurrection, but we say rise a lot, even amongst ourselves, and all of that. Now, obviously, this is not what Isaiah is getting at. So all my theologians out there, relax. I'm not trying to imply some type of new theological concept here. I'm just saying that through my own bias, I look at the word rise in a different way. And I think it could fit here. Jerusalem, not only stand up, rise up. But not only rise up in splendor. Look good. Rise up in splendor, which implies now also clean yourself up, dress up, and put on your best garments and portray that. Do that. Because your light, it says your light has come. The glory of the Lord is now shining upon you. And so what a great start. What a positive start to the whole message. However, got to move on, because somewhere in the vastness of the universe, during a particular year, during a particular time, a star was told, rise up. You have to now proclaim something, and something wonderful is going to happen. And star, you have to rise up to proclaim it. Show to this world, show to this planet, something wonderful is coming. In order for you to do that, you have to rise up. Okay. Magi, looking to the sky. It seems to be part of their job. Magi, looking to the sky, sees a star on the rise. And no doubt they talk amongst themselves and says, this is not fitting the normal pattern. Something is going on here. Don't exactly know, but we see the sign and we see it in the rising. So, Magi rise up themselves. And for whatever, and I'd like to be in on this conversation. It's the one thing we don't hear about, and I wish we heard more from the Magi. What were they thinking, and what compelled them to leave their homeland to come to a land which is definitely not their own, and compel them to go to this? Now, we know they're coming to find the newborn king of the Jews. But how in the world did they figure that out? And then, what compelled them to do it? Well, nonetheless, there's other questions, but they did it. And off they go. Everybody's rising up. Well, not everybody. So Magi, a star, and the prophet has looked forward and says, Jerusalem, your time will come when you rise up. There's something to be said about that. To accept sometimes the strangest notion of what we should do. Because, you know, if we lived during this time and some magi said, I see a star and I'm going to follow it, we really would not think too well of them, probably, because it just doesn't make sense for you to do that. It's not scientific, you know, and it just doesn't fit into the concept of what should be going on now. But you know what? These magi took the risk. So here they are. So they get into town of Jerusalem. So they roll in, and then they go to Herod. They finally somehow get to Herod. We know that. And suddenly they said, hey, we know about this, the infant king. You know, we know that the new king is born. And so now we know the Herod story here. Herod gets concerned, calls a meeting. All sorts of people come in. Smart people come in. You got to open up the books, and they do. You know what? They do find some stuff here. They said, hey, look, we found something. You know, they have to go through the books, and they said, hey, look, there's a prophet here. We found something. These guys might be on to something. But they're all, arguing about it and this and that. Well, I don't know this. I don't know about that. But the whole point is, while they're doing that, there's a star above them. But they're busy arguing over what this is all about. Finally, the Magi said, you know what, we're leaving. And sure enough, why? The star. You know, everybody else, oh my gosh, is it this prophet, that prophet, what's going on? And what does it say? And behold, the star that they had seen at the rising preceded them. The star said, come on, let's go. And so off they go, leaving Herod and the whole crew back in Jerusalem, trying to figure things out. And we know the story. The story is obviously they find Jesus. Okay, enough of that. So I don't want to stay too long about them with Jesus because we know that story. And you all have it in your Christmas creches and all that. So we know that. Why all the rising? Why all of this? Well, I didn't give you the rest of the sentence back in Isaiah. Rise up in splendor, Jerusalem. Your light has come. The glory of the Lord shines upon you. See. Okay. Now, not only rise up, but now see. Open your eyes and look and see. Darkness covers the earth and thick clouds the peoples. It's foggy and it is cloudy. Rise up, Jerusalem. Be a beacon amongst all of this cloudiness, of all of this darkness. Show something that the world has not seen, and that is the glory of the Lord. The Magi saw it in the star, and they said, aha, the newborn King of the Jews. There is something to behold here, and we will do all we can to see it because we trust the star and where the star leads us. But they once again go into Jerusalem, and now we are confronted with Herod, and let's look at Herod again and the group. They are in a fog. They are in the clouds. Thick clouds, darkness. And what is their darkness? Well, back then, Herod was pretty political. He had a lot of power. There was a lot of politicking going on. And, there was rules. And there's rules about how God should act. And they had rules on how God should act. And they had rules on where God would be. And rules on how God should be worshipped. And all of these things. And after a while, maybe, just maybe, they were so busy about their own concerns and power, they were wrapped up into the fog and into the cloudiness and into the darkness that the Magi said, we just have to move on. You do not see what we see. And now we will go. Now, before we get all haughty here as Christians, you know, we're all feeling good because it's been the Christmas season, and we know this story very well, and we know the birth very well. And as Christians, we kind of try to put ourselves into the story sometimes. And I maintain that if we all really honestly put ourselves into the story, we wouldn't see one star. We wouldn't see it. Why? Because Herod has a point. You know what? Life is busy. It's all about the rules and the regulations and our power and our needs and our selfish wants and our selfish needs. Herod had big ones because he was a leader. If I was Herod, I would have the same thing. So what do you mean a new king? I like my power. I like what I want. I do not want anybody subverting it. I don't want a new king. I don't want new rules. I don't want any of that. I want to be comfortable. I want what I want. And in doing so, I create darkness and I create clouds. We do it all the time. So Herod, for us, is a cautionary tale because we all have family things. You know how we can get along sometimes with family, and if we're not getting along with families, we're not getting along with friends, not getting along with coworkers, we don't like this, we don't like that, and I have a whole list of things I don't like. And when I start to expound it, when I start to live it, when I start to express it, I can throw clouds. I am great cloud machine. I can throw darkness, and I'm good at it. All of us are good at it. So much so that I don't see a star. So if I was during that time, I would be fussing and fighting with Herod, and I would let the crazy magi just keep on going. So here we are. We're challenged. Back full circle to Isaiah. Isaiah tells us now, you Christians, all of us in here, rise up. Rise up in splendor. Let us not spread darkness and let us not spread clouds. We're the followers of Jesus. We believe in Jesus. We come to this table, we receive Jesus. Isaiah is saying, oh my gosh, rise up with that and show the world that we can rise above the clouds. And when we do that, when we rise up and show the Lord's splendor, we start to dispel clouds. So we can go one or two different ways. We can become cloud makers and darkness makers, or we can become cloud dispellers and darkness dispellers by just how we treat one another and show God's love. It's not easy. And believe me, clouds like to pull us down. But no, this is the epiphany. Let us have the courage of the Magi who dared go to a new place to look for something new, and they were rewarded for it. If we do the same thing that the Magi did and trust in the Lord, wonderful things can happen.